If you haven't heard the news, Diddy. Oh wait, let me just. Diddy gives his artists back their publishing rights. Now, I think I've tried to explain to you guys what this is. So, publishing in the yesteryear, labels used to take the publishing of an artist because artists didn't know what the worth of it was. So they could just, the artists were entitled, like it's a law. You're like, if you write a song or you're part of the composition of a song, you're entitled to publishing. It's part of the intellectual property. Publishing and also the master. You're entitled to that, right? Unless you sign it away, right? So even without a publishing deal or agreement, or even like a fucking, split sheet or whatever when it comes to music, it's usually divided. The producer gets 50%, the composer or not composer, well, the performer or the writer gets the other 50%, which means that the rapper and the writer or the singer and the writer, they would split that 50%, but then that 50% is seen as a whole. And then people usually divvy up the publishing as they see fit, right? Usually, if you do the hook, you probably usually get a good chunk of it. But regardless, the producers, and this is where producers make their money, and it's still happening for producers because really producers don't get big fees anymore, so they live off publishing. This is how producers eat. So even the biggest record in the world, Fuck You Mean, the producer that you don't know, or actually, who produced Fuck You Mean? Well, anyway, I only gotta look it up. That producer is entitled to 50% of the publishing. What does that mean? Well, publishing ends up being anytime the song gets licensed, the fee that gets paid is paid to the publishers. Okay? It's collected usually by either one of the rights organization, ASCAP, BMI. You have, I think, SOCAN if you're in Canada. There's multiple organizations. They're going to collect these fees, okay? Also, well, really, if it's a movie or something like that, you probably deal with it yourself, or you have a publishing company that does those deals for you. But ASCAP or BMI or whatever, what they're normally going to collect for you in terms of publishing is publishing royalties that usually come from, say, Spotify. Yes, there is publishing royalties that come from Spotify, right? So a stream, if it's worth whatever it is broken down to performance royalty. There's a few different royalties, but one is publishing royalties. Anyway, why does this matter? This is exactly why producers still are doing their job. Without publishing, most producers, because you got to remember, rappers could go on the road, but producers can't. Producers would be really fucked up out here. So publishing is really important. Now, early on in the game, when rappers didn't really know anything about anything, and by the way, it happened to producers too, but producers had to learn the game quicker because they couldn't go on the road. Rappers were obsessed with the high life, so they neglected publishing, and a lot of times they got finessed, right? So what would happen back in the day, even with Diddy, he'd be like, hey, listen, I'm down to sign you for $300,000, but if you give me your publishing, I'll sign you for $400,000. You're like, yo, another $100,000? I could be balling with this. Fuck that. Give me the most amount of money, because people didn't understand the music business and how consumption was, and also that basically having your publishing is like having a stock. So people want to cash up front, right? So these guys were selling their publishing for little or nothing, to the point that most of these deals started having it baked in that the publishing already belonged to the label. Diddy and others were the beneficiary of this. Later on, the practice is seen as completely wrong. You're robbing people of their intellectual works. You're taking away shit that you didn't help create. Of course, you're eating on the master and the royalty, and of course, recoupment has to happen. But when it comes to publishing, that's not even about recoupment. That's you, the label, owning these people's thoughts, their writing, their feelings, and their performance of their song. Diddy, by the way, these things matter a lot, even though it wasn't publishing. Actually, was it pub that Irv Gotti sold? I thought it was masters, but I don't know. It could be pub. Irv Gotti just sold some shit for $300 million. So this matters a lot, right? Diddy, who owns like the majority of his artist publishing, apparently now he's giving it back after like 20 plus years. Now they say don't look a gift horse in his mouth. And a lot of people say this is a good gesture. He ain't had to give it back because contractually he owns it. He doesn't have to give it back. It doesn't revert back to the owner. No. When you sign these record contracts, it says you're publishing. If you did sign that deal that gives away your publishing, it says in perpetuity. And if you don't know what that means, if you ever seen the contract, it means forever and a day. It usually says in perpetuity throughout the universe, which means even if you're on Mars, nigga, that contract is still to be upheld. Because what people used to do is, I only signed that for the North America. Cool, I'm about to go do some shit in no. For everywhere, nigga. So these contracts are really ironclad these days. So Diddy's giving it back. But a lot of these guys, a lot of the people getting their publishing back are actually making us think about it. They're like, well, to be honest, Diddy gained millions over the years. Our music now isn't making as much money as it would have made 10 years ago or 15 years ago. So I get that he's getting some positive press for giving us our publishing back, but how about you just give us the money that you made off this shit in the last 20 years? Now I'm going to play what Diddy said, but before I play what Diddy said, I think two people who I want to play their opinions on it is Mark Curry. This is what he said. I played this before, but this is what he said. Okay. Now I want to play his soliloquy. Give me a second.
What do you say to the people who say
gonna give $1 million to Jackson State like he doing some humanitarian type thing? He just trying to do whatever he can to keep his name relevant so he can go for a new deal because he don't really have nothing that's making him no money right now. He's not even a billionaire no more. So let's talk.
What's up, everybody? This is the world famous Ed Lover, and you are watching.
Okay.
What made you decide to do that and involve in it?
Okay. To give the gist, basically, Mark Curry was saying, hey, listen, you're giving it back now. The shit ain't worth nothing. Like, bro, what's up, right? By the way, Forgetting Kings, this is your channel, I believe. Okay. Now, Aubrey O'Day, and I believe she was in a group. Aubrey O'Day. They're in a group. What was the group called? She did an interview recently. What's her group called?
Should I ask you?
It was Danny D. Kane, right? Anyway, I don't know if I could find it. Here we go.
Like the other.
So she essentially got offered her publishing back as well, but she has a different take on the entire publishing situation. And just like Mark Curry, who says, yo, it ain't worth nothing, she sees another angle that she believes Diddy's taking it at. So here we go.
Show I do called Sunday Conversation. We get pretty big guests on there. We had MGK on it recently, and like a year ago, and he was whatever. And he was like telling us that like him and Megan watch a show every Sunday in bed, and I was like, oh, Megan Fox is just looking at me every Sunday. Holy shit! And I was like, oh my god, what a moment. But that's always an interesting thing. Let's see, what else do we have here? Should I ask you the golden question?
What's the golden question?
Nothing. You keep mentioning Diddy. I wanted to ask you about I just saw the whole thing with Bad Boy. He gave the rights back to a lot of Bad Boy artists. Any comment?
Yeah, I'll talk about this.
The floor is yours.
So this one has been bittersweet for me because as I've gotten older, I've let go of a lot of the trauma, and I've learned to really appreciate some of the more personal, beautiful moments I've had with him. And he is the first person that gave me a platform to show my talent to the world. And I was at 17, I'm 39 now. So I have a hard time talking about him. Before it was no good. Now I feel loving moments for moments that we had together. But this banner that he's painted himself with all weekend long, this has been the Labor Day talk in my world, that he's paying back all of the Bad Boy artists. I just want to throw you the facts, okay?
Sure.
The deal that we were offered, and when I say we, not every artist got it. Like Day 26 did not get it. But this is what it is. You can have your rights back to your music after Puff went under and somebody else bought our catalog. So this is long after we have 2 double platinum albums, $14, $15 an album from 2 million albums is, what is the math on that? 48 million?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm no mathematician, but maybe.
So $48 million somebody made on me.
Yeah.
I did not make anything. When I said
Hold on. Let me do the math correctly, chat.
now I feel loving moments for moments that we had together. Mm-hmm. But this banner that he's painted himself with all weekend long, this has been the Labor Day talk in my world, that he's paying back all of the bad boy artists. I just want to throw you the facts, okay?
Sure.
Okay, let's go.
The deal that we were offered, and when I say we, not every artist got it. Like Day 26 did not get it. But this is what it is. You can have your rights back to your music after Puff went under and somebody else bought our catalog. So this is long after we have 2 double platinum albums,
2 double platinum albums. Okay. Double platinum. Double platinum each. Okay.
$14, $15 an album from 2 million albums is, what is the math on that? 48 million?
She's correct.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm no mathematician, but maybe.
So $48 million somebody made on me.
Actually, way more because there's singles being sold too. So, but go ahead. You're speaking.
Yeah.
I did not make anything. When I said I did Christina Aguilera for free, I didn't do Christina Aguilera for free, but the record label recouped it all. We were in debt at the end of that tour.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So I worked for free for the first 6-7 years of my career, basically, and also MTV was not paying us. And this is another part that I have that I feel some kind of way about, because MTV since then, in these recent years, has brought back every big cult show, meaning it had millions of followers, and it was at least 6 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Making the Band is one of those. They brought back Real World, they brought back Jersey Shore, they brought back Laguna Beach. Making the Band is the only one that they did not bring back. And Making the Band is the only cult MTV show that made that network, one of them, that they have never played in one rerun. Not one rerun. So I'd like to know why. And if it has something to do with Diddy, then again, what I'm wondering is when the deal is, when this benevolent man who's just now had a change of heart and has decided to pay us as talent and also as writers, we're credited with publishing. So basically, we only get the amounts due since Sony bought our catalog.
Okay.
So streaming for the past couple years, it's about $800, $900, some in the hundreds, okay? And in order to get that, I have to release him for any claims or wrongdoings or actions prior to the date of the release. I have to sign an NDA that I will never disparage Puff, Bad Boy, Janice Combs, or Justin Combs' music, or EMI, or Sony ever in public.
So that you just got recently for this thing?
I got it a few months ago when he started doing
what's
this.
In the news now.
So what's happening is artists, some of them, not all of them, are being given streaming royalties and ownership back over our publishing on songs that we wrote at a time when you know that you have to stream a song 1 million times to make a cent.
Yeah.
Okay, it's hundreds of dollars. And me, as somebody that's a girl's girl, I hit everyone in my group and said, absolutely do not take this deal. I can get us a show on Hulu right now and talking about boy bands and girl bands, because you have to realize there's a handful, 2 handfuls at most, of boy and girl bands that had platinum albums, 2 platinum albums and that will never happen again. Music nowadays is run by TikTok, and you can maybe get a song to chart well. Albums aren't being made anymore. There aren't conceptual albums like Christina was doing, like Justin was doing. Those don't sell. It's a singles market game.
True.
And it's a gimmick game at best.
Hey, she's so right and so smart. And Oreo Day, I don't know if you had this mindset or you had all this knowledge when you were in the industry, but everything you're saying right now, you're hitting the nail on the head. I'm pretty sure you've learned through a lot of misfortune, a lot of realizing you got robbed and taken advantage of, but it's never too late to learn. And hearing you speak, you're absolutely right. I talked with somebody today. He's an executive. He'll remain nameless. And they told me, they said the music game right now, this industry is in a shambles. Artists don't want to put out albums anymore. Albums are doing bad. You're seeing your favorite artists or artists you like, let's say they're a mid-tier artist, their music ain't selling. The format of an album isn't selling. Also, they don't know how to break artists anymore. It is gimmicky. I'm going to tell you why. It's gimmicky because every label is now relying on TikTok to adopt the record. It's the reason why the TikTok Billboard charts just debuted today. Everybody's relying on TikTok. I've heard the stats about consumption. They say consumption is, the same person, they say, consumption's down. I said, that's not true. I've read that consumption for music is at an all-time high. We're both right. They're thinking about consumption from the regular places. So they used to be like, oh, DSPs and blah, 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 and radio. The consumption there is down. Where music is being consumed the most right now is through these apps using sounds. Like Instagram is actually about like 10% of consumption of music, and it's just sounds. You know how you can put a sound on your picture? That's consumption. So, but that's not really properly monetized. So how do you get money from that? Second of all, TikTok. TikTok is eating away the market share. Here's some things I heard. Check this out. Everybody used to be dying, like killing themselves. Like about 4 or 5 years ago, Rap Caviar was Ultimate King. It's still really good. But if you were on Rap Caviar, you're shooting up the charts. These days, consumption on all playlists, not just Rap Caviar, could be Apple A-list playlists or even some rotation playlists on Amazon. They're all down across the board. All of these playlists are down because people aren't going to playlists or even going to some of these DSPs as much to listen to music. They're getting their music taste and curation from TikTok, from sounds. And that's fucking up the game because the labels don't know how to deal with it. When it was just playlists, the labels have deals with all the DSPs. They'd be like, all right, cool. You know we need our artists on there. Cool. Now when it's TikTok, it becomes gimmicky. So here's the thing. Now the deals being signed are different. And by the way, this is the thing with Oreo Day. Like the new artists, like for example, like I was talking about what's her name? Sexy Red. Sexy Red has wild amount of leverage. She didn't sign she only came in with a distro deal. From what I've been told, most of these new artists, based on how they're blowing up, because they're blowing up without the help of a label, and it's usually on some algorithm shit or with TikTok, most of these artists are only settling for distro deals from these major labels. The royalty rate deals are deals of the past because these artists are looking increasingly now like, yo, well, we don't really need the label. Russ said it best. The label's like use was to make sure, like the labels like wink, handshake. You know what I mean? They like each label is gonna get certain spots on every playlist, right? These days, playlist is driving less traffic. From what I'm hearing, down 30%. I gotta ask my man Carl Cherry over at Spotify. I gotta ask him what he thinks. Like, is it true? I'm gonna text him about that actually. Is consumption a little bit less? Is the effectiveness of that playlist less? Because I hear everything is going towards TikTok. Here's the business model with TikTok now. Again, the person I talked to will remain nameless. They said the music game right now is gimmicky as fuck. This person told me, they said, yo, right now, every label's in the business of trying to figure out the algorithms, also like doing these campaigns on TikTok and signing these guys for these one-off single distribution deals. Yo, he told me this. He said, yo, our label, we used to do like one sign-in, right? Maybe a week, maybe sometimes even 2 weeks, right? So now we're cranking out 10 to 15 motherfucking single deals from TikTok little songs before lunch. It's gimmicky. We just want to, put it like this. We're signing them for not that much, but the algorithms are going to favor it. We're signing they said they're signing certain people for $2,500. Just knowing that if they work it right, they could turn that $2,500 into 50,000. Some of these songs don't even go that big, but that's a crazy flip. 2,500. You sign you do a single deal. You're like, yo, here's $2,500. We get a percentage. Y'all do some little whatever, and then they make 50,000. That's how labels who used to labels used to care about big money. They're playing a small game because they can't predict what's going on in the industry. This shit is in shambles. This shit is in shambles, people. I'm telling you, I talked to him. I called the executive today. I said, bro, I just want to chop it up with you, man. Let's trade some game right here. On my side, I'll be very honest. I said, listen, I think I'm the number one marketer and promoter of music. This is why I could talk the shit I do, because I know I'm invaluable to these labels. They know Akademiks stands for something. Akademiks is the guy. So I need to be on top of the game of how is music being really effectively promoted. So we went over a bunch of numbers and I said, wow, this shit is now changed. This shit's fucked up. Sexy Red, who supposedly hasn't, signed a big ass deal, people are bidding for her right now. Remember, her shit blew up really quick. She was through a distro deal. The distro deal was for either a couple of songs or whatever the case is, or maybe like an album or two. But still, she owns all her rights. Essentially, she will never get in a royalty rate deal. She has wild amount of leverage. So you know what's going to happen? She's going to go to a label and command a big ass bag. I heard that there's 4 labels lined up to meet with her, and if her team knows, holla at me. Actually, she DM'd me, so I'm gonna get on the podcast soon. But there's like 4 labels lined up, flying to her to meet with her. They're trying to get her, but they can't. She's too lit already. By the time they get her now, they're only gonna get like a distribution type of situation. Hey, we get 30%. We get 30% of the profits. You own the masters. Of course, we'll administrate everything. And that's where our 30% also exists. Also, we'll get you a little playlist, and also we'll run TikTok campaigns for you. These labels, they went from royalty rate deals, which is paying artists less than 20%, to now they're saying, oh, we're good with just 30%. Obviously, minus recouping and shit, but still. The game is switched, man. Cult of Masculinity, thank you for the 5 pounds. He says, according to MRC data, old songs now represent 70% of the U.S. market. Wow. The 200 most popular new tracks are less than 5% of this total streams. That's what I'm telling you. They're doing quick flips now. So here's the thing, right? It's catalog games. So basically, older songs that have lasted the test of time. Remember, you already paid and you probably recouped on those songs. Those songs are still doing well. Most of the labels, and that's why maybe Atlantic was even though they were doing it for the stock market, they're in the boat that I think a lot of people, they spent last year. I think they're probably going to keep spending this year. I think next year they're going to slow up the spending when it comes to getting artists. Atlantic is in the place of, we own these niggas' catalog. We're chilling. We're not trying to spend. Capital's spending like the Yankees. Interscope is like, we chilling. Like, we got Cardi and we got a few other people. Like, we gonna be good. Like, we gonna make it through. We got, we got Roddy Ricch. We got is Baby over there? No. I think they got Yo Gotti's team over there. CMG, they're like, nah, we good. A couple other people, they're spending. Or not spending. A couple other people, like, the spending isn't happening as much because right now, if you sign an artist and you give them $1 million and you're like, oh, we're going to incubate them where we think they got talent, blah, blah. Bro, people are, quote unquote, falling off in 2 months. Your song's hot today, and in 2 months, nobody gives a fuck about the person. So right now, they're like, shit, let TikTok do the work and we'll just benefit from it. It's kind of fucked up. Anyway, my bad for the interjection, but let me let her cook.
If
you were to sign that NDA, would then that prohibit you from taking a deal where it's like you get a show about the
I would
past?
never be able to do. I would like to do a documentary for Hulu or Netflix or Amazon, a streaming site on boy band and girl bands. I have a bunch of members from a lot of very boy bands that fit the criteria of a certain amount of status.
Yeah.
Platinum albums, awards, etc., Grammys. Same with girls. The stories that we have to tell during a time in music where there were gatekeepers, there were people that owned labels like Puff running things, and the way that the divisions and the divisiveness occurred, and the things that we experienced between each other and us against the system are fucking insane. And most people that have had to go through those types of things, like the real ways the Kardashians got to where they got, Ray J tried exposing a lot of that, they're still acting like that Ray J didn't expose them and that their Hulu show is all real. They don't have to really even notice Ray J because he doesn't come close to them. But what Ray J said was the truth, and he proved it with facts. So at the end of the day, we're all just willing to turn a blind eye. Diddy is just literally...
Wow. Oreo Day, I would love to have you on my podcast. I could tell the industry has chewed you up and spit you out. I hear resentment there, and a little bit of bitterness, but I don't hear lies. I hear you understanding what this fucking industry is. I like that. Unfortunately, it probably didn't turn out the best for you, but you're not delusional, and I do like that. I like that. I like how she's talking.
Really known as the guy that doesn't pay his artists. And it's funny, and then you move on and you like something that he did on TikTok because he's funny. But for people that worked for 6 years of their life and entered an industry where somebody made, what, $48 million?
Nearly $50 million?
And we didn't even see a penny of that, and we were in thongs and 5-inch heels for years of our lives on stage. And not any of it did we see. And the measly amount of change that MTV paid us, we don't even get to feel any benefit of that because they never brought the show back. And they don't play it in reruns. So we can't even get the hype of, oh, hey, I remember this. They're cult classics. Let me hire her for something. Yeah. Like all of them got, right? Mm-hmm. Jersey Shore kids are making millions of dollars. We were talented kids plucked out of oblivion, and we all had a fucking dream to be at Madison Square Garden and perform, which we got to. And we were not expected to get there. And we're all incredibly talented, every single one of us. So to me, when I read this, I'm basically feeling like you're presenting yourself as the benevolent God that's giving everybody back their music. You've turned down millions of dollars to give the millions back to the people. This is the honest to God. You can read from our attorney.
Yeah.
This is the honest to God agreement of what I'm being offered. A few $100s to sign away my rights to ever tell the story of what I went through again. And there's not going to be an era of girl and guy groups like that ever again with the way that music has transitioned, and I don't know if it will go back ever again to anything that's credible.
Yeah, I don't really see it.
And there's a story there, and Hulu tells those stories, and streaming, Netflix tells those stories, and there's so many paychecks. I offered girls, I called all of them. I offered some of the girls, hey, if you need $800-900, I'll give it to you. Don't sign this. This is just a way to get you to never be able to publicly speak about what we have experienced. And to my knowledge, allegedly, there's only 2 of us from Danity Kane that did not sign this deal.
And were there 5 originally?
Yeah.
I'm like the Hall of Fame muter, right? No. What I was trying to say is that, and Drill, please cut out the mutes. Like, please, you got to cut out the mutes. Like, nobody want to hear it, or nobody want to not hear it. Listen, Diddy is someone who I think is a great person for music. I think he's a legend. Like, I love Diddy. I love Diddy because like he's paved the way for so much entrepreneurs and so many black people to do so many things that was previously thought as impossible. He is a trailblazer. He is a trendsetter. I do respect him in that realm. By the way, I've done business with Diddy. His company Combs Enterprise, we've done a lot of business together. Like shit, this is great. You know what I mean? So I have zero incentive to ever like speak against him. But I'm also one person who's a man of the truth. And there could never be a paycheck attached to my integrity and also me being able to be like, nah, that's not, I don't think that's right. And I want you, right before I get into this, you just heard how Audrey O'Day spoke. She spoke with passion, integrity. She does seem bitter and she does seem a little bit like salty a little bit. Yes, of course. But she didn't seem like she was lying. She seemed like she was like, damn, we got fucked over, right? And I could empathize with somebody like that. Not saying I'm saying that, she deserved the fucking world, but we got to look sometimes behind the fucking Trojan horse, right? Like, I know they say don't look a gift horse in its mouth, but what does this move really mean? And I wish Diddy kind of explained it like how they're explaining it, because he explained it like it was no strings attached. They're explaining it saying, hey, we basically don't own any stories of whatever. Like look how many stories came out from these older situations where these, like, straight out of like, if imagine they were NWA, right? Obviously they're not. But if they were NWA and NWA signed this deal, they couldn't do Straight Outta Compton. You don't control your story anymore. It's basically an NDA deal, which means that you can never give any type of real or even critique of your experience there. So hear how Diddy spoke about it, and I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm kind of like, I go off sincerity. You tell me if Diddy comes across sincere here. Buzz terms, it's the frequency, it's the energy, it's the vibration. Like I love these buzzwords, you know what I mean? Like the woke mob loves it. But it says nothing, right? Like, yeah, the frequency you're in, how did you not get to this frequency 20 years before? Like, brother, just explain it. Like, you're getting positive PR. You also have, you have a chance to effectively squash or kill any possibilities that these artists come out later with some weird stories about you. And it's a good business move. It's a great business move. And it's a great business move at this time. Anything other to be like, oh, I'm just this humanitarian that, no, come on, let's be honest. All right, okay. The next thing was, by the way, interestingly enough, him and Envy had a moment when Envy tried to ask about Young Miami. Here, before I get into that, Laquarius Daquan Smith, thank you for the $10, brother. He said, yo, what's stopping the labels from paying a bunch of TikTok creators to make a song trend? Or sign another creator like DDG that could make his own song trend? Ladarius, they're spending about like 60% of their budget on TikTok right now. Marketing budgets are all going to TikTok. At least the digital marketing budgets. They're still doing, traditional shit, so they're paying that constantly. But they're moving a lot of their traditional marketing dollars to TikTok. Yes, it's already happening. Okay, and yes, they have little ways. They were explaining to me today how they make a song kind of catch a little steam. You get what I mean? And it was kind of weird, but shit, apparently they're trying to figure out the algorithm, how to manipulate it and how to exploit it. Thank you, though. Let me get back to this. This is Envy asking about Carisha, and Diddy kind of checks him, but I think Diddy been watching these other shows where Envy seems pretty sensitive. A good little back and forth. By the way, I ain't gonna lie, man, this nigga Envy, like, yo, again, I don't even think sometimes people are trying to like talk ill of his woman, but like, yo, anytime his woman's brought up, like, this nigga want to kill somebody, bro. Yeah. Thank you guys for the donations, by the way.